Now it's time to talk about part 2. In part 2, we are going to talk about Legacy 8 02.11. Basically, these things are like old things, more like history, but it's valuable to know them or to be mentioned. So the scope of this video, the second part is legacy security in wireless or Wi-Fi system, even though they are old, but somehow gold. And now we're starting part 2, so legacy security, and let's see what we get. The first authentication method, it outlined it in 1997, so basically provided an opener into the network infrastructure. So, I mean, everything was free in the air, and at that time, they were thinking of, okay, let's have something like on the air. Let's provide the Wi-Fi. But how to provide it? Maybe a pre-shared key was the thing. Like we need a shared authentication, shared credential. So in the legacy, we had open system authentication. The first one, as I said, really everything was on the air. And then they realized, oh, it's not too cool to have something in the air. So let's have the shared key authentication. And how was it, and or what was it about? It was like providing authentication. I mean, the first one, the open system, it was like providing the authentication without any type of verification. Just any user could send a request, send out a request. Okay, I would like to connect to the network, and on the AP side, it was like, yay, why not? Come to me, and you're gonna get the service. So let's say on the left side, we had like user, laptop, whatever, client. Just authentication request. And on the AP, access point side, we only had the authentication response. I mean, everything was that much easy. Yeah, it needs actually a poker face emoji. But anyway, so it was the first generation, and we explained that. For the second one, it was the shared key authentication. So it used wireless equivalent privacy, which we call it WEP, WEP. And what it was the way to authenticate client stations. How a static web key be configured. We had that thing to be configured, and yeah, on the both sides. So we have our station, we have our AP, both should be configured. So let's see the flow chart of that thing. One side, what do we have? We have our client. As I said, it could be a laptop, it could be a mobile phone, it could be a tablet, whatever. On the other side, we have our AP. So first thing is the authentication request. So client sends it out towards the AP, and for sure we will have the authentication response. But it comes with like a challenge, which we call it like a clear text challenge. So it sends a challenge. AP provides something. Let's say for the second step, provides the challenge to the client. So client will think of that. Okay, what to do? What should I do? So the again another authentication request towards the AP, but this time the clear text, now it is like encrypted, and it sends out again towards the AP. So what AP does at this step? AP decrypts the text, and two probable things are to happen. The first one, let's flow the diagram like that. We have two things, like yes or no. Did it match? Didn't it match? If yes, so the AP will sense, okay, you're good to go. I mean, the sixth step will be the positive response or the final authentication response from the AP, unless it will be the negative response. So, I mean, here the all of the flow will be done, and nothing is going to happen. I would say neither of the legacy authentication methods are they considered like the strong or good enough for enterprise securities. So the the open one, like the open shared authentication or the shared key authentication, they has been deprecated, and yeah, they are no longer recommended. So no one, I would say, are using them. That's it for this topic, this part. But when we're talking is to talk about static web key. So what is a static web key? It would be my second thing to talk about. Static web key, static web encryption. It's a layer 2 encryption method based on ARC4 streaming cipher. So as I said, we have a block ciphering and a streaming cipher, or continuous stream cipher. So this one is ARC4, which is the streaming cipher, and the initiate was 64-bit, and yeah, shortly thereafter the 128-bit WEP also defined. But there were some goals, so let's see what were the goals when they started. First of all, confidentiality. So the data privacy was the thing. I mean, encrypting your data before transmitting it. Next, it is access control. So accrued from authentication. You know, what you need, key management. And finally, data integrity. So what does that mean? It means integrity checksum. So integrity check value, you know, ICV. And I said like ICV or message integrity check, like MIC, those things are beyond the scope of this video, so we're not going to talk about them. But let's see what is 64 WEP or 128 and how they are constructed, or they used to be constructed. There is like a box, that like a header, or the first part is a 24-bit IV and 40-bit like the static key. It's for 64 web, and for 128, so the same, like we have 24-bit IV and 104-bit static key. If you want to look at it in a different way, if you want to see it could be hexadecimal or ASCII, so the 40-bit, it would be like 10 hex and 5 ASCII, and 104-bit, I mean the second part, apart from the IV, so it is like 26 hex and 13 ASCII. But what is the thing here? It can be cracked in less than 5 minutes. It's a little funny, but what are the cracks? We have IV collision attack, weak key attack, re-injection attack, and bit flipping attack. Again, I'm saying these attacks and these things are beyond the scope of the video. I'm just mentioning them. Let's have a closer look on the construction way. I mean, the block diagram. Also, we can call it WEP encryption process visualization. So for that reason, what do we need? We have a plain text, and we know WEP runs CRC on that. So on the plain text to be encrypted, and then it appends ICV, integrity check value, to the end of the plain text data. So this is the first part. CRC and appending the ICV at the end. So we have our WEP, and also we have our IV. We can use them as the seeding material through a pseudo-random algorithm. For what? To generate random bits of known as key stream. Now, we have our key stream, and the pseudo-random is ARC4. We've talked about that. Finally, what we're gonna do, we're gonna XOR, I mean, we have a Boolean function. So the pseudo-random bits is the key stream, and then combined with the plain text of data, and then we have the XOR of them. So what will happen? Our encrypted data, or the ciphertext. So we have the key, we have the ciphertext, and finally, based on the diagram that I showed you, like the block earlier, we need our IV at the beginning, and it will be the illustration of the thing that we are going to do. I guess everything is clear on this part. We can move on. The other part is MAC filtering. So if you want to talk about MAC filtering, the first thing is that MAC filter can be configured to either allow or deny traffic from a specific client MAC address to associate or connect to an AP. So this is the concept. Sorry. And mostly, most of the vendors use MAC filter to deny client association. So basically, it is to like route your data towards one AP or deny your data from to an AP. Other vendors, the other thing is that use MAC firewall filters to apply restriction, and that will allow like a traffic only from specific client to pass through based on the MAC address. But the thing is that MAC can be spoofed, or impersonated by any amateur hacker. So it's a wrong this concept if you think MAC filtering is a good way of having security in your system, because actually, no, I guess it's out of the question for that thing, but it was part of the legacy. After that, we have SSID cloaking, which is basically the same in the concept of considering it as a security, which is not. What's that? We say access points typically have setting called closed network or hidden SSID or a stealth mode. All of them like the same concept. So by enabling it, the SSID field in the beacon frame will be null. So what will happen? We have the empty part in the SSID. So this is cloaking, and it will be like how to say that, for passive scanning, when the AP is trying to listen to what's going to happen, they will see nothing because it's like null. And the thing is that many application can send out a null prop request and get a null prop response. So also this one is not a big deal. And for sure, we're not gonna consider it as another SSID, as another security solution. A hidden SSID, I would say, can be found in a second with a proper tool. And the phrase that you'll see in the technical books like CWNet book is circumvent. Part 2 is just finished, and we talked about like old school stuff, legacy of security in Wi-Fi, MAC filtering, SSID, cloaking, about web static encryption, and now we are good to go to the second part. So third part. So let's go to the third.